Hello, I'm Horceror. I want to find out what makes every single killer tick. There's one big glaring issue with that though. I play the Nemesis, essentially only the Nemesis. I physically cannot get thousands of hours of experience on every single character. So, I'm going to be interviewing people that do have those thousands of hours. One for every single killer. Welcome to Stars of the Fog. Alright, hello, and welcome back to Stars of the Fog. Today we're going to be covering a sneaky little killer, the Pig. Today here, my guest, would you like to introduce yourself and what you're really known for?
Hello, I'm Scorpionz, and as the video suggests, I'm known for the pig.
And what got you into the game Pig is from, Dead by Daylight?
I've been playing since practically day one of DBD, long before she came out even. I mostly got into it through Twitch itself, so back then I wasn't even a streamer, and I watched a lot of different content creators. I mainly watched Admiral Baru, and he was just switching to variety and played DBD in its beta. I watched the whole of the beta, and then about a week after it came out, I got into DBD. And when DBD came out, I primarily played Survivor, although that's massively changed now. And then once kind of the first DLC, once Nurse came out, that's kind of when I switched to being a killer main.
So Nurse was your first killer that you played then?
Surprisingly, no. It was just at that sort of time. I dabbled in a lot of Nurse. I do play a lot of Nurse, but it was actually Wraith. Wraith was my main killer for the first, until Pig came out. So what was that, 2 years or maybe a year and a half until Pig came out?
A good bit of time for sure.
Oh, it was a long time, yeah. And there was always just, I don't know, Wraith was fine, especially back then. It was a very different game back then, but
for sure.
He was fine, but he just wasn't, especially back then, he didn't have a lunge out of his cloak. He just uncloaked. He didn't have, his stealth was okay, but it wasn't amazing. And it was just close, but not quite. And then Pig came out, and it was kind of just everything I wanted Wraith to be that he wasn't. And obviously now Wraith has changed a lot. He's much more hit and run these days. It was completely not like that back then, but Pig has sort of remained as that sort of stealth and ambush gameplay that I kind of wanted Wraith to be. And even now, around pallets, Pig play pallets in a way that he never could, and that's kind of where that came from, and where this appeal of Pig to me came from.
So the initial appeal was less stealth hit and run and more stealth but I can also play chase type deal.
Yeah, for sure. And again, back then there was just no real ambushy or dashy killers at all back then, really. I mean, you had Nurse and Billy, but people weren't curving in the way they do now. It was just a very different game. And when she came out, that's the sort of gameplay that pulled me in, and I haven't really gone away from it since then. She's changed a little bit, but nothing crazy since the day she came out, really. So it's kind of where I've stuck.
All right, cool. So when do you feel like you really, you said that you enjoy the ambush, the hambush, if you will, of Pig.
Yeah.
When do you feel like you really got Pig? When do you feel like you understood her, all the text, all the possibilities, all the variables, stuff like that? When do you feel like you mastered the Pig?
Okay, it didn't actually take too long to get the idea down.
Okay.
I'm going to keep talking about her then and her now. Okay. So sorry.
No, that's fine.
But
I love the
back then it was very, again, quite different, because she was very slow to crouch. The speeds we're talking were much slower, and you can only really get the sort of gameplay that she's known for now, this loop gameplay with an add-on. But even back then, it was very much a case of, I bet this is possible. And it was only really a few weeks after that, when she came out, that I started properly going down this road of the ambush, if you want to call it, around pallets and that sort of gameplay. I mean, I didn't even I started streaming properly a week after she came out. That's when I started streaming.
That's Pig is very connected to your being a streamer too.
Yeah, it was something I was thinking about starting to do on Twitch before she came out, but once she did, it lined up with, I was just finishing college at the time. It was just lining up. It was in IT computing.
Okay, cool. So about how long do you think that was then? Because you said not very long, but
to get used to that, it didn't take very long, a couple of weeks to get used to the palettes, but then it was, okay, I've got this basic down, and what else can I do with it? What else can you sort of do with the power? And that's when other techs, beyond just ambushing around palettes, came to be. Things like moon dashing, where you would like dash backwards down, especially things like Shackwall or just like car pallets, that sort of thing came around a month or two afterwards. And then you would get, it's much harder these days with the way they do maps, but you could like jump over pallets on certain maps, and you could like from the one I can always remember, which you can't do anymore, sadly, but
tragic.
On Asylum, before they reworked it, you could jump down from the top floor through the window to the kind of dome area where the gen sometimes spawns. You could like jump down there with a dash and then come around the corner, so you could outplay pallets like that. That's the sort of stuff that started to spread when I was streaming. That's sort of how I started growing, as it were, because it's a bit different now, but that's mainly what my channel was known for at the time.
Wilding on the pig.
Yeah, basically. And like when I started streaming, I have a few other streamer friends by this point, as I was networking before I started streaming, and they helped me out early days to grow, and then kind of just reached this point where it kind of just took off, as it were, which is it's crazy to think about now that I don't stream full time anymore. It's crazy to think now, but looking back on everything that happened over the 5 years or so that I was doing it full time, it was crazy, really. Like being in, for example, being in the Fog Whisperer program is crazy. Like it was one of the first ones in there, and once they opened it up to the first 50 creators, I was first ones in there, and that's wild to me now, thinking back and everything that came about all just because of this stupid killer that's come out in DVD.
Thank you, Amanda.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. It's like how different my life would have been if this killer was not in the game.
Yeah, the butterfly effect is a very real thing.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And like, just, what's, obviously you give me a lot of choices to choose from, but what would you say is your favorite part about the pig? Like anything at all?
Cool. It's I think, like I said, we said about her ambush is one, but beside her power, I really do like her character design, which is kind of mad because I haven't seen S.T.A.R. or anything like that. I just haven't. I have worked with them now that I've since Pigs come out, but I've never seen S.T.A.R. I had no connection to this character before.
You worked with S.T.A.R?
When it was a Fog Whisperer, yeah. I've done work with Lionsgate, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
When I don't know why they did it now, actually. It was a few years ago. I think it was just a sale of the DLC on Steam, but they wanted me to send them kind of what we're doing now a little bit, but like a load of footage of me effectively playing Pig, and it was on Pig's store page when the sale was on.
So you run a Steam store page too?
For Pig, yeah. And then they gave me 2 free tickets afterwards. That was my payment. I didn't get paid in money. They gave me 2 free tickets to Thorpe Park, which is a theme park in the UK.
That's cool.
And there is a Saw themed roller coaster there, which is why they did it. That's pretty cool, really. That was another mad experience. Yeah. I'd say her character design. I really like the visual and the audio. Like everyone talks about the stun sound. At least that was a huge thing when she came out, and just the general play really around pallets. I'm not so much a big fan of the trap gameplay that some people enjoy with her.
So you're more of a trap gameplay disliker?
It's much more of a tool for me. There's some people out there that would see that as kind of like her actual power. You know what I mean? Yeah, and blasphemy. But some people see that as like her primary power. I mean, I don't blame them because it is the icon.
Yeah.
But it's not really my sort of thing. It's much more of I'll just slap 4 helmets on you. The first 4 people are down, and then I'll just kind of forget about it, and it'll slow my game down, and it'll give me more time to do what I want.
Yeah, exactly. The part that you like, so it's just a tool for slowdown. I mean, while we're talking about the lore and the character design, how do you feel about her cosmetic options specifically? Do you think, are you happy with the amount of cosmetics she has?
Considering she's licensed, yeah, for sure. I'm pretty sure she was the first. Oh no! Was she the first licensed killer actually?
Michael Myers.
Was it Myers?
Myers was first, yeah.
Myers was first. That kind of opened the door to it, that it actually might, because there was a good while where it was like, well, the licensed killers don't get skins. And then Myers opened the door to it then, if it was Myers, to where actually it could be possible. And then I actually think she's probably got the coolest outfits of licensed killers.
And what's your favorite if you have one?
For I don't know its name, but the black leather, like the jacket one that she's got, that was like that, and the other one, the one from I know it's from the film. Well, they all are, I suppose.
They're all from
But
the movies? What?
well, not necessarily. Not all of them are her, I don't believe. But
Technically, no.
no, I don't believe so. I've still not seen it, even after all these years. I probably should, shouldn't I?
Maybe.
That's mad that when I think about it, I've still not seen S.T.A.R.S. It's funny because on the subject of cosmetics, I still will always wear the the default pig head. I've not worn any of the custom, like the outfit ones. They just don't do it for me. So I tend to just run the normal head with I tend to swap between a lot of different outfits actually, but mainly just it'll be default head with prestige or that and the black sort of jacket.
I don't have it because I don't play Pig to the Point, but I do like the Pig's drill when it just goes wee after every hit.
You should. You're missing out, man.
I'm just not a really big fan of palette playing. That's why I picked up Nemesis and why I'm where I am now.
Yeah, over the palette, you know.
Or just break it. Exactly, yeah.
Or just break it. Oh, true. Yeah, just.
And you know, while you're talking about stuff we dislike and stuff we do like, what's your favorite like map and your least favorite? And would you say those are the same maps that are the Pigs, best and worst?
My favorite map at the moment, honestly, is probably tough one really. There's a lot of maps. The New Ormond one's fantastic. I really love the New Ormond. Yeah, it's not Ormond. It is Ormond. I don't know its actual name though.
The Ormond Mine.
Well, that came out with Master. Yeah, that one was fantastic, and it's really, I think, a good step in the right direction for maps in general in this game. Her best map is Midwich, and it's not close either.
Classic.
It's not for everyone, I don't imagine, but
yeah, I love Midwich.
I mean, I love it as well. It's not my favorite map personally, but it's her strongest map, like easily. Any indoor map, really, except maybe the game map, ironically, is good for her. The game map would be fine. It's just, you know what it's like. Every DVD player knows what the game map's like. There's just so many safe palettes that it's...
I mean, maybe I'm not the greatest guy to, feel about that, because that's my best map.
Well, no, you just chew through palettes, though, until you run out.
Yeah, I just chew through them, and then, the game's over, It's like...
Yeah, I mean, I guess...
fine.
Okay, any M1 killer is going to know my pain on that map. It's something there, that's for sure. It's tougher because they keep changing maps, right? And I don't know about you, but a lot of the time when they change these maps, they don't actually get better. The game map is definitely one of those examples. It used to be a much better big map. There was just a lot of tech with maps with every killer that they removed. Like they just suddenly got this mentality that they don't like people flying over things. And I mean, I can understand it, I suppose, but they didn't want... There's a lot of palettes that you used to be able to do that you now can't, but there's only one thing really on the game map now, currently with Pig, and I guess other killers, I suppose, now I think about it, which is that you can hit over... I'm not trying to describe it now. Like
upstairs in the middle, there's a square hole with a box over it, and you can hit through it, but you still fall.
You still fall, yeah. And then in the corner, there's another square hole pallet that you can break from the other side as you're falling.
Yeah, with the pig head over it.
Yeah, they're like the only two things left. They're remnants of old game map. That's what it was like. But yeah, it's great in that they're like the last few. And like the thing is, basically every loop kinda upstairs is pretty good with Pig. You can dash around all of them. Downstairs is kind of the reason why the map's so... I'll be positive, actually. I'll be positive. It's the reason why the map's so difficult. I'll call it difficult. That's the reason why, because downstairs is a struggle for most pigs.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of like the little jungle gym, because the wall isn't the same as a lot of other jungle gyms, and like it's too tight to pull out the whip, so you have to either eat the pallet or lose the loop.
That's actually one of the few tiles downstairs that Pig's actually good on, depending on how they loop it, I suppose. Okay. Well, yeah, because when you're crouched, you just don't have a red light, and with the add-ons I run, you're slightly quicker than they are.
Which add-ons is that?
I run the medical file and the last will. So the last will is effectively, I'm going to get grilled for saying this, but effectively engravings for Pig. It's like dash speed.
Gotcha.
And the other one is movement speed while crouch walking. You kind of crouch, and then like the trick with that tile is to not just dash straight away. You kind of... it depends on how they run it, I guess. Even if they're camping the pallet, you can kind of get round the short side of the pallet, and it ends up just being a flat 50-50 rather than them guaranteed pulling that pallet down.
That's pretty cool.
There is stuff. Yeah, there is stuff on that map with her, but oh my god, it's minimal.
And just while we're here talking about add-ons, how do you feel about Pig's add-ons? Do you think they're balanced, over, undertuned? And you just told me your favorites, so don't have to ask that.
It wasn't that long ago that Pig changed.
Yeah.
She got, I think it's about a year ago now, some tweaks.
2024,
so,
I think.
Yeah, so she's in a much better state now. Add-on wise, obviously they're my two favorites that I run at the moment. Combat Strap used to be, but obviously with the changes now, you don't really need it anymore. My least favorite is still Tamper Timer, honestly.
Why is
I'm
that?
just not a huge fan of this whole head pop gameplay style with pigs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm probably being very general right now, but you play Survivor, I'm assuming, as well, so you'll know what I mean. When you get that pig player, doesn't crouch, doesn't attempt a mind game, puts helmet on you, ensures that you die. You know the sort of player I mean. And that's the sort of gameplay for me that's just kind of her biggest problem, and that add-on promotes that gameplay really hard.
While we're talking about, that type of pig player, it's like back when there were 4 boxes and you were guaranteed to get a key from a specific box, so she would just crouch in front of one and someone was guaranteed to die.
Yeah, that is the best change they've ever done with her, honestly. Apart from, it's just one of the best changes, because nowadays, and you know how it works nowadays, 5 boxes, and there's 12 searches in a match, split across the 4 helmets now.
Yep.
So it's just so much better because it removes any randomness from the pig player. So now she can't be like, oh, well, all my helmets are first try, so I lost that game. Or they were all 4th try, so everyone died. It's always 12 searches, and there's 5 boxes, and it's no more than 4 per helmet. So it's like you're guaranteed to get it off unless you get ridiculously unlucky. And even then, she can't see the boxes anyway to know where you are to camp, the box or patrol it. She has to look out. Like, if she wants to do this sort of gameplay, she's got to really work for it now, much more than she used to, which I think is a healthy thing. I am much more of maybe this is because I don't watch S.T.A.R. There's a lot of people that would play it and be like, oh well, it's a trial, they've got to be really tough, and people dying to helmets is a good thing. I don't know if it's law reason or if it's just their sort of gameplay, but to me, if the more they focus on the helmets being a form of slowdown as opposed to a
guaranteed kill,
kind of like a guaranteed kill, I think is a good thing. Not everyone will agree with that, but I
think they're implemented in a way that's like, it is a really good representation of who she is from the movie, I would say. Like, it fits the fantasy, I guess, but from a gameplay perspective, it feels a little lame if you just like get crouched after with your head beeping. It's like, well.
Yeah, they've tried in the past to address that, and it's not worked. So maybe, who knows, in the future they might try again.
Maybe.
So they tried, there was a PTB once where helmets would deactivate within, I don't know the actual range, I'm going to make a number up. Within 32 meters of the pig, they would deactivate. Not permanently, just,
turn off,
rather than in chase. But then you were getting pigs using the helmet UI as like a whispers built in. So you were just finding people quicker. So they didn't do it. So maybe that could come back, but they get rid of the UI thing. I don't know. It's not, from my experience, it's not, that side of things is not the biggest issue with it. It's more when they're zoning you, right?
Like
every time you reach a box, they'll chase you off it, and then they'll leave you, and then you go back to the box, and then they find you again, and then they chase you off it, and they repeat this process until you're out of the game. And I guess technically they are throwing the game to do that, which has always been the argument, but more of a fan of fun when it comes to this game.
I love having fun.
I'm quite old school with DBD. I think that's one of my problems, is I'm very old school. I'm still stuck in my old ways, I guess, a little bit. Even with the build I've got on, it's very old school.
You can't play games for fun. That's illegal.
I mean, who knows? There's a load of stuff I still think that could and probably should change with Pig, and it kind of goes back to, again, how old school my build is with a... Because I don't run any slow down with Pig at all. Okay.
So what would you actually change if you could about Pig?
Oh, blimey. A lot, but also not a lot. Like, I don't want her to have a Freddy style rework. Like a gun or something. Like, the Freddy change is fantastic, but it's just not something that I would want, and I think that would push me away from DBD if she changed that massively. But for one, when she came out, here's another story time. I love my old nostalgic DBD stories of the past. When she came out, she had a 28 meter heartbeat, and they changed that 28 meter, not 32. Every 4.6 killer, like trappers, they're all 32. So when she came out, it was 28, not 32. And then, I don't know when it was, years ago, Behavior went through this phase of consistency. And they were like, right, all 4.4 killers, Deathslinger, Huntress, all of them have got to have a 24-meter heartbeat. And all 4.6 killers got to have a 32-meter heartbeat. So suddenly Pig went from 28 to 32. And it basically killed her stealth in one update. And it's never changed since. And then obviously Deathslinger went to 24 meters. And we all know how that played out with every Deathslinger running Monitor and Abuse and sniping you from 2 feet away with no heartbeat with the spear, which is why his got changed back to 32. So they then broke their consistency, obviously, because Deathslingers is now 32 again, and they never changed Pig back. So Pig has just got this gargantuanly huge heartbeat for what she is.
So the game changed around Pig, not in a positive way, but like specific updates for Pig have been pretty good so far, as like buffs and nerfs.
Oh god, yeah, recently, yeah. And then in the future, I would love to see her actually get even a 24-meter heartbeat, like same as like Sadako.
Sadako also has a lullaby, though.
She does have a lullaby. She does, but she's... I don't know. I think it'd be good. I don't see it causing too many issues as well, though. Really, I mean, I guess everyone would run Monitor, but she is a stealth killer. And so Sadako, really. I don't know. I don't think it'd be a huge deal if she had a 24. Like, I don't think it would break the game. Like, she's still an M1 killer.
Okay.
But as for changes, like I said, I would genuinely love to see her stealth improve if we were going to go down the road of changes for her. Things like her movement speed while she's crouch walking, and things like the number of seconds it takes for the heartbeat to fade away once she's crouched, which is currently 4 seconds after she's done crouching.
Wow.
So from the moment you press control, it takes 5, because obviously you go through the whole animation of crouching, which is a second, and then it's 4 seconds after that you lose your heartbeat. So it's really long, and stuff like that I'd love to change. Like, it doesn't just disappear though, it fades. Like, so from the second she's done crouching, it starts, imagine the terrorist is a big circle around her, like that circle starts getting smaller, and it takes 4 seconds to fully reach her. So stuff like that, I'd love her stealth to get better, and then you would adjust add-ons accordingly, I imagine, like they always,
of course,
do.
And just kind of a fun question that I enjoy asking. Pig is one of the ones I was looking forward for this, but how do you... How frequently do you run into like fans of your killers or antis, and how do you think the community feels about Pig in general?
It's got rarer these days. Everyone loves to boot the snoot. It's got much rarer, which makes me really sad, but you do still encounter it. You do, especially at the end game, and I love it. I really like it. I think it's great, but it's got so much rarer now.
Yeah, people just want to pet Dracula dog now.
I know. It's like, mate, come on.
Kids these days.
Boot the snoot, you know. I'll let you get gate as well, even. But yeah, no, it's great, but it's much rarer.
I actually, I kind of want to show you an image that I drew because this is so funny actually, because I do paint redeems. This is like one of the things on my stream, right? And then people get me to draw stuff. So I just want to see your unprompted reaction to this. All right.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. What is your thoughts on this?
Oh my god. Where do I even start with this? Well, he's definitely begging for Hatch, I'd say that right now. Or begging for Exit Gate, but oh my god. How did this even happen? What was the context? You draw something in paint and redeem, and you were like, yep, let's do that.
My community, they give me a line, and I cook. I am an instrument for bullshit, I guess.
That was... oh my god, yeah, that is crazy. That's ridiculous. I love it.
I was gonna ask, some fun stuff, like how do you feel about your killer's strength, personally? Not, just obvious, well, clearly she's this tier, but just, your own experience, your own reasoning, all that.
Well, I mean, I've never been hugely one to look at these sort of tier lists, as it were, but she's obviously like in the middle, really. I honestly don't think she's as bad as everyone makes her out to be. Especially nowadays, I do genuinely think the ambush takes some serious work to put in to get value out of it. But then once you sort of break that threshold, your eyes kind of get opened, as it were. So the sort of things you can, do with it.
It just feels like a lot of effort to get similar results on other killers, though.
Yeah, I do get that. I think the big mistake that a lot of people make, which is why a lot of people rate her so low, is that they kind of rush into it with ambushing. I mean, they'll get to that loop, they'll crouch, and then they will just instantly dash. It's not that they won't think; it's just that they'll just assume that's the right play. But a lot of the time, it's waiting.
Patience.
Like you. First off, you need to gauge whether or not the survivor is what I would call a runner. You know, if they abandon the loop instantly.
Hold W-er, yeah.
Yeah, if you know they're a runner, you can even then, everyone goes, oh, well, their power is useless then. And it's true that you're not going to dash them, sure. But the way I always say it to people, and they go, oh, yeah, is that once you know they're a runner, you can pick which way they run from the loop, effectively. Like, if you're a pallet, and obviously shack is one direction, main building's the other, and then to your right, there's that dead zone. Don't crouch until they're at that part of the loop, because they'll just run instantly, and they can't go main because you're blocking it, and they can't go shack because you're blocking it. They have to go that other way, and then a lot of the time you will either get that hit or you'll get them to that next pallet. It's little things like that. I'm not going to sit and be like, oh well, yeah, she's the strongest killer in the game and she's mild, but I do think that people do underestimate her loot gameplay a little bit, for sure, definitely.
She has a little bit more macro knowledge necessary than just like hit loop, go next, hit loop.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to like think of where you want to corral them to.
Yeah, if they're like that, especially, yeah. And I mean, my build is it's pretty old school nowadays, to be honest. But it created like a meta for her, as it were.
Really?
Because I'm sick of pallets. Okay. I don't know about you.
Have I got a killer for you?
I run enduring, and I know nowadays it's garbage, fine, but I run enduring because I am just sick of pallets, and I play really aggressively around pallets. Like, I will go for that lunge almost every time on that pallet, because I mean, the connection these days, you never know what hits you will and won't get.
Oh, for sure.
You gotta go for them. So I'm running enduring, I'm headbutting pallets, I'm recovering instantly, even after a dash, if I go for that pallet dash and it just doesn't quite hit. And the other perks I run Whispers and Monitor Abuse and I'm all ears. So the reason why I run M&A is because of her gargantuan heartbeat, which we've already discussed.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I run Whispers is it's kind of a cook, but like nowadays you would probably just get more value running a bunch of slowdown perks, which I knew that already, even back then, but it was like, I don't just want to run the same 4 perks that everyone runs on every killer, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, the idea of the build is that obviously Pig's really slow when she's crouch walking. You want to be crouch walking as little as possible, but as efficiently as possible, right? Yeah. Like when you're not in chase.
Yep.
So if Whispers is on, someone's near you, yeah? So you crouch.
Yeah. Otherwise you're just running around.
Yeah, and so that's when you know when to enter stealth, yeah? So Whispers turns on, you crouch. And then because her heartbeat's 32 meters, you run M&A to make it 24. So when Whispers turns on, they still don't hear your heartbeat. So you can crouch and then use M&A to where the heartbeat starts fade from 24 instead of 32. And they don't hear you approaching that gen or
that's actually kind of 5-head.
It is a cook, isn't it?
That's pretty smart, yeah.
Obviously, again, I need to reiterate, it's clearly not. I'm not going to pretend it's the strongest build in the world on her. Like, I'm just not going to. But it's fun, and that's what I get out of DBD. Obviously, it's a fun game. So
yeah, you don't need to.
And then the IML is, you won't with this. You're not going to be going on these ridiculously long win streaks or whatever. But that's fine. It's not for everyone. As for IML is, it's kind of pretty obvious. But what you can do is, because you can, like, for example, a T and an L wall, right? If you're getting a survivor that doesn't just run through this tile, they actually play out the TL wall. Like, most people will play a TL wall out. I would expect to get an ambush hit on a TL wall every time because of Amulirs. Like, they will vault that window and then they often will hide behind the back of either the T or the L, and you could just see them. So especially with the dash add-ons, it's long enough to where you can hit them on either side. So you'd bait left or right, whichever way they are, and then you'd go the opposite way, and you would get that hit. Yeah, it's a very fun build for me. It works well enough, but you're not going to win every game, obviously.
I mean, if you're having fun, who cares?
And
just because you just brought it up, how do you feel about Pig win streaks? And obviously, I don't think you'll say it's easy to win streak or anything on them, but
It's not an easy win streak.
No, for sure.
It's not my sort of thing, win streaking. Obviously, there's all the that side of things I don't really get involved with too much.
Not really a win streaker.
I'm not a streaker myself, no, especially not on Pig. After enough Pig games where it's like okay, I'll switch to Nurse now, and then I will,
And I'll actually go win streak.
My try hard. Yeah, that's my try hard mode. I'll play Nurse now, and then yeah.
Well, in a similar vein from streaking and Pig and playing against Pig, you did very briefly say you started with Survivor. Do you still play Survivor?
I do. Okay. I do still play Survivor. More now that I don't stream the game full time. When I streamed full time, I was just killer, and it was mostly just Pig as well. I went through a really long phase, a couple of years even, of effectively just playing Pig on stream.
Gotcha. And I was gonna then ask, when you're playing Survivor, do you enjoy playing against Pig?
That depends.
What odds?
It depends on every killer. What their add-ons for one. If they've got Tamper Timer, it's going to be one of those games. And extending even from that, if they've got the most, you can run what you want, obviously. But I'm gonna say it, and it'll probably offend people. But the most obnoxious Pig build you can run right now is Face the Darkness.
Oh yeah, because it stops you from doing your searches, right?
Yes, it does. So when you get that is not a fun experience. But other than that, it's actually quite fun. I do really like playing against Pig. Other than that, but yeah, the Scream build is it's in the game.
And would you say that the Scream build, Face the Darkness, is the most frustrating part about playing against Pig, or is there like anything else that would be like,
I would say that's the most frustrating thing, like, because they will also follow you. It's that and the pigs that you said earlier that follow you with the helmet on that are achieving nothing other than killing you. Like, they're not going to win the game at all unless your teammates are really, really slow. Yeah, they're the two things I would say that are most frustrating.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough these days with that sort of thing, and it's tough these days with that sort of thing. But you just gotta get on with it.
Get on with what? Just time.
That kind of game, and it's like, and you do have to just sort of get on with it, because you can't do anything. Obviously, you can never promote that sort of DCing or anything like that. You just can't do that sort of thing. So you just gotta get on with it. I mean, you get that sort of game.
So speaking of DCing and giving up and going next, how do you feel about the whole Go Next Epidemic thing, and how often do you have people doing that against Pig?
I get it more than you'd think. It's like, come on, man, I'm a pig that's got no slowdown. Like, come on, guys. I don't even play that unfairly either, but you'd get it more than you think. So in a 3-hour stream, I would get it, depends on the kid I'm playing, but at least 3 or 4 times. It's not great, and they need to do something about it. And I think they know that as well. But these things are not. You can't just
whip something out.
You can't just snap your fingers and fix it. But I think they're aware. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, and they need to actually put something together that's going to work, not just here's another.
They can't just. Yeah.
Here's another behavior band-aid.
They can't just slap something together. It needs to work. It needs to feel good from all perspectives.
And it needs to be fair, have a carrot and a stick, not just okay, buddy, you're banned.
The community is like, well, what if we just get rid of Kobeing? And it's like, okay, they can do that, but then you've got, what about slippery meat? What's that become? What about deliverance? What do we do with that? There's loads of things like that people don't instantly just think of. It's like, it's got to be done properly.
Do you want to hear some of my ideas about that? Because I have a whole, I also do occasional side stuff on how I would improve DBD. I had a video a while back
for sure, man. Yeah.
As far as removing Kobeing, I do agree, except I don't really care if they do slippery meat. I think that could just go. Personally, that's my opinion.
I do actually think that is the solution, by the way.
But I think Deli is fine. Wicked is fine. If they ever add some third perk that lets you unhook yourself, that's fine. But
so
then
you think people will just not bring Wicked and then just AFK? And
we're getting to that. Okay, it's fine. But
sorry.
In general, perks for it. But then it would also, they would still have self unhooking. Just it would be in kind of a last chance scenario thing. That would be very vague. I'm idea guy. I'm not a game designer. I don't have a specific. This is exactly how we're gonna do it. But the idea, it would only happen if a certain amount of people were on the ground. No one was coming to get you. You were in the last 10 seconds of your hook timer on the first stage, so people can't just hop off rip, and die and leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like the last 10 seconds, you could even increase the chance to like 10 or 15%, whatever. Then they just hop off hook rather than just like at the beginning of the timer.
Removing it. Yeah, because I can see there'd be things like in endgame, then you'd have to wait nearly 90 seconds before you can attempt to Kobe.
Well, that would be like a last chance scenario, you know? That would be the idea.
Right, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, that's what I mean, because getting rid of Kobeing is such a heavy-handed change instantly, right? It's like, oh, you just can't do it anymore. So the amount of scenarios, like you said, that it would create that are just not healthy.
Yeah.
I feel like the killers could do a lot with that in a not great way. So the idea you had is, yeah, it could actually work. And there's some things as well, like, oh, slippery meat could just give you 6 attempts, right? But then it doesn't affect your bar. You just get 6 attempts.
But then everyone would bring it, and then you just get 6 attempts to free yourself for free. And it's like...
Yeah, exactly. So you can't just... this is why it's not a quick change, is it? Because it's like, oh crap, what do we do? But I think they're aware, and it's like they've just got to do the right thing for it. But they need to hurry up, don't they?
Yeah.
The other thing is, the other argument is, well, why are people DCing or going next?
Exactly.
But when you look at it, I mean, I'm getting people go next in a pig game without any slowdowns, and it's just like...
And you're not like playing like a, you know...
And I'm not playing
pig.
like a... Not like a person on a win streak. It's like, come on. So there is an element of, oh, well, I don't like playing against... I'm going to single out Skull Merchant, but it's not so much like anymore. Oh, I don't like to play against Skull Merchant, so I'll go next. It's less... oh, we'll change Skull Merchant. It's more like, well, this pig did nothing, or this Nemesis was just playing the game, my guy.
With Nemesis, though, I kind of get it, though, because, like, he has an animation bug where the whip's hitbox doesn't follow the visual, so, like, they get hit by something invisible, so I get it on occasion, but...
Respectfully, one question. Do you think he was overbuffed?
I don't think they should have done all 3 of them in one patch, but I don't think it's an overbuff. Because if they wanted to change something back, it would be a little like, well, which part is the problem? Because we changed like 3 or 4 things.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the range increase.
I love the range increase so much. Like, I actually feel like I get rewarded for hitting tier 3 now.
That was a big...
it was so big. It was so huge.
Area of the change, I feel like.
The kind of point of it just being like rewarding people for using their power, which is a great game design decision.
That's basically what it was, yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I like it a lot. Okay, let's swing back to Pig. What are some very common misconceptions people have about Pig?
That she's mainly a trap killer is the big one. And the other one is that it's to do with her ambush, isn't it? The main misconception is her ambush gameplay. How often do you play against a pig that properly attempts to... Exactly. How mad is that? Like, it's like saying how often you do against Nemesis it doesn't use a tentacle. You just don't.
Lot, actually. A lot.
Oh my
Bad example, but I get what you were going for.
Oh my god, I'm losing
it's so painful. Like, they just punch me.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing for me. And I go against a pig, and I'm like, you could just tell within 30 seconds of the game exactly what sort of player they're going to be. And it's like, oh man, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. That's the biggest misconception, is that her dash is not very good in chase. Sure, it could be better. I'm not going to deny that, but my god, is it still really good?
For sure. So, you know, people complain from time to time.
Yeah.
Is there like a common grievance against Pig that has a super obvious counterplay that people just aren't using?
Ooh, I mean, the most common complaint is helmet gameplay. I guess doesn't really have a counter at all when you think about it, because it's... I'll tell you actually one thing that is a complaint is that I will sometimes get people right on me and they're like, oh, you told me. And I'm like, okay, I'm quite a fair player.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a sort of, on the one hand, pigs do focus with helmets, but on the other hand, there is a sort of entitlement that survivors have with a helmet on, which is that, oh, you can't chase me, I've got a helmet on. So the amount of times I will see someone get unhurt, run literally 2 feet left, and then instantly just start searching a soul box, and I'm like, I'm right here. And then they'll be like, oh, you told me. It's like, no, but that's probably the biggest complaint or about her is helmet gameplay.
I will say, this is adjacent, not like an exact 1-to-1, but I've had a pig once that tunneled me, but not in the way you think. So, first of all, they down me the first time, put a hat on me, they hook me. I get unhooked, they come back, they put another hat on me, they hook me, I'm on death hook. They come back, they down me, they put a third hat on me, they leave me on the ground. And then when I get it off, they come back and give me the 4th hat. And that's like, it's like a little fucked up, but it's
kind of funny, you know?
I've never seen that. That is some insane targeting.
It
What?
felt so hateful. I got out because like it was for the bit, but like it felt so hateful.
I've never. That is insane.
I got to do
Next
boxes the
level
whole
targeting.
game. I was like, "Can you leave me alone?"
Yeah, that's good.
And like that was funny at least. I enjoyed that.
That is right. Yeah, that is quite funny. I've actually had people DC for giving them a second helmet before.
Only 2?
That
Wow.
level of like they would just get it off though. So I happened to find them as they were doing their last box. They popped the helmet off. I down them. I instantly trap them again. They disconnect.
That's so funny though. It's so petty.
It is.
Or well, with Pig, I would like to ask if you think that Pig specifically has had like transferable gameplay skills for you. That could be like to other killers or other games entirely.
Especially, well, maybe not other games, but especially other killers. Yes, my M1 gameplay now is like insane, as it were, because it's just so heavily reliant on M1 gameplay. It's like the better the survivor, the less often you're able to like actually successfully hit an ambush. So like your M1 gameplay gets kind of insane to the point where you can just transfer it to any other killer, and it's
Except
like
Nurse.
well, yeah, which is why I learned Nurse. Which is why I learned Nurse. But it's like, okay, I'm playing Hillbilly and I'm garbage at Hillbilly, but I'm really struggling this game, so now I'm just gonna M1 out of my mind. Like that sort of thing. It's very helps learning new killers for me, I think, because I can just fall back on M1 machine kind of gameplay.
Yeah. Chiclay, who was the Bubba interview, he was talking a lot about like the fundamentals of Dead by Daylight killer and how they're important for every single killer.
Exactly. I would honestly argue that you might not enjoy it if you really wanted to learn it, but your first killer should be Wraith or someone like that. Just someone that's really basic and can just teach you that gameplay.
I think honestly a lot of people have said that, like even unprompted, about like general advice and like how to play killer and, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, they said start with Wraith. Like that is a fantastic killer to play with.
Exactly the killer you need to start with, because it is just you, and I mean that's how I got how good I got with M1 killers, is just because I played so much Wraith. So much Wraith, yeah, and DB was rough back then, mate. Like, holy crap! If you think pallets are a lot now, like Jesus. So it was rough, and you had to just get on with it as Wraith, and it's just how to get the fundamentals down. Like the last thing you should be playing is someone like Nurse when you've just started DBD, because you will be good at Nurse and nothing else. Or any killer like that, even Spirit, just you can't. Any 4.4 killer is different, which is fine. You can go down the 4.4 route if you want to be a Huntress player only, but even then you won't learn the fundamentals as well as you will with a killer like Wraith. That's 4.6 is just a chase machine.
Yeah, Scott was saying the same thing actually. A funny story for Wraith. He just started DBD and he started to play Nurse, and then his wife was like, no. You're not playing Nurse first. Get on Wraith. And he's like, okay.
Get on Wraith. Get on Wraith.
Get on Wraith.
Learn the game. Put a few hundred hours in Wraith, and then switch to whatever kill you want.
So what, like, general advice would you give people that are learning Pig, specifically?
I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record here, but, like, general advice is to just not be afraid of your ambush or afraid of missing an ambush. Like,
use your power, guys.
It's okay to lose a game because you're just trying to learn ambush all game.
Absolutely.
And actually, another thing that might help as well is how I learn as well to be the way I am with ambush is to actually just bring Amanda's letter every game, because you'll, even if it's not a very good map for it, like you'll get a corn map, right? But what you'll do is you'll crouch at a jungle gym and you'll see them through the wall, and you'll learn then the positionings you need to be to dash or not, because you'll soon realize, and you can probably attest to this, is a lot of survivors kind of do the same thing.
Absolutely.
So if you crouch with the Amanda's letter and you see them at this certain spot on the jungle gym, and then the next game you get another, you take off Amanda's letter and then someone does the same thing to you, they're still going to be standing in that exact same spot, even if you can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
So just go for that ambush the way you did with the letter, and you'll probably pull it off, because they're not going to move, you know?
Yeah, it's why I like Floods of Rage, just because it gives me like the same vibe, and that's how I get a lot of hits through windows, because I know exactly what they're doing, you know? And
that's why I'm using Nine Wall Ears.
Yeah, exactly.
It's exactly the same. It's like they're not going to be doing something different because you suddenly don't see their aura in the next game. Like, that's a really good way of getting to know your positioning with ambush, especially now that Amanda's letter is better for slowdown. really good just to be like, okay, well, I'm going to stand here with this and I see where you are. It's a great onboarding add-on. It's just a shame it's ultra rare. It needs to be, but it's a shame it's ultra rare because you won't get that many of them.
I think her other pink though is I do like the design decision of like it completely changing your playstyle.
Everyone's starting with a helmet.
Yeah, I think that's like cool. You know, it's neat.
A lot of killers have that sort of add-on now, don't they? I think.
Like a funky pink add-on that changes how they play.
Well, yeah, like you start infected, or you start with a helmet on, or you start
starting contaminated would be great.
Yeah,
but
yeah, you don't.
I can just think of Wesker really.
Wesker Singularity, I believe.
Oh yeah, very true.
I believe on Rio, you start with a tape, unless that's been changed.
I have no idea about Sadako's add-ons.
That might have changed. I don't remember, but yeah, I think there's a couple. But yeah,
I'll probably ask Willie about that when we get there.
I believe starting asleep with Freddy might be one as well.
Yeah, unless they changed it in the update, but see, okay, so for everyone watching this episode, I haven't actually talked to Wes yet, even though this episode is going to come out after that one, because Wes wants time to get it like situated with the Freddy update, because it's coming out in like
oh
a
goodness,
few days.
Everything about that killer's changing, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're putting a pin in that for a bit. So this episode chronologically was recorded before the Freddy one, but this one is coming out after the Freddy one. It's a little confusing, but it's fine.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. So does Pig have any special techs or bugs that you'd want to talk about specifically? Because you briefly brought up moon dashing earlier.
Well, the primary one is moon dashing, yeah, which, as I said, allows you to actually like slide off of objects. Kind of not quite as elegantly as Wesker, but you can kind of do the same sort of thing. Beyond that, her tech primarily consists of what map you're on, or what you can actually, it's not really got a name as such, but you can like fake the roar. Like obviously they hear you charging up your power, but obviously you've got no intention of actually using it. Like you'll crouch, you'll roar, they'll run away, you can stand up, and then you actually get that free hit a lot of the time, depending on the map, I suppose, but on tiles. But as far as tech goes, it's not. They keep removing all my maps, man. They keep changing DVD maps where you can't jump through stuff anymore. It's so sad. No, moon dashing is still a thing. Thank God. You can still do the sliding. And I bet you I'm going to remember something else later once I've done this.
I'll just put in like a little text blurb here for what you remembered later. And any bugs specifically? She's a pretty simple killer, so I imagine it's not super complex.
There's not too much, no. There's...
Nice.
Yeah, it's not like Nemesis, is it? Is there probably quite a few? There's the odd time when you'll crouch, and if you try and ambush too quickly, it will just not give you the prompt. Oh. That's the only thing, but that's rare.
So rare, relatively low impact.
Yes, thank God.
Must be nice.
It's not always been like that, but yes, at the moment we're in quite a stable place with Pig.
So for my second to last question here, a little bit less on the Pig side. I mean, you can pull Pig into it somehow if you want to, but you don't have to. So how long do you think Dead by Daylight is going to last?
I think DBD will last until they stop making content for it, to be honest with you. I honestly just don't see how. You mean until the game dies, right? Everyone moves on. I don't see it. I really don't. So especially this year with FNAF coming out. Like, that's going to be huge for the game. Right?
For real, yeah. And they just, they mentioned a thing where they were making it so you could, like, try out killers, which I've been asking for a long time. You know, have, so like,
they're bringing that back.
Like a tutorial. Oh, yeah, with Splinter offerings, right? But they're making it so people can't just like, oh, but actually, you're bringing a Splinter now, killer, so you're playing Perkless Freddy. Sucks to be you.
Yeah. I honestly, that's... If they can get that down, I honestly think the onboarding on this game is horrible as a new player.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
It's so if they can improve that and then just honestly keep releasing content, I honestly think the only thing that would kill this game is itself. If they start making content, like everyone always talked like, oh, F13 is going to kill the game, and then it was Phasmophobia, and then it was insert ASIM game coming out next month.
It's TCM, it's VHS, it's
they're never going to do it.
It's Killer Clowns, guys. This one for sure.
I do think that like the game obviously needs competition because that's healthy for everyone. But I honestly don't think only thing I think that will kill this game is itself if they do a wrong update, or which I don't see them doing, or if they stop releasing content.
Yeah, I speak from experience because I was a Halo fan for the longest time, and then every game is like, okay, is this going to be the Halo killer? Is this going to be the Halo killer? And then the Halo killer ended up being Halo, so...
It ended up being Halo 4. Which one for you?
I'd say Halo 5, honestly, and then Infinite was just kind of disappointing, and
yeah, 5.
I'd say Halo 4 was acceptable. If they like actually doubled down on what they wanted to do with the story instead of like starting a new trilogy 3 games in a row instead of finishing a trilogy, then like it would have been a lot better. But
yeah, back to DBD, like we said, I think this year is going to be massive for the game.
Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's is
summer. Like it's the first time they've ever announced something that early, and it's blown up much bigger than I thought it would.
Yeah, because did you see that tweet? Because it was like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of likes, millions of views.
That's exactly what I mean. It's gonna be huge, and I think they know how huge it's gonna be. But I will say is that everyone. Okay, I fully agree with everybody that this game needs work in terms of stability, bugs, blah blah blah. I think this might be a very hot take.
I love hot takes.
I think people will want like them to skip a chapter, right, to fix stuff.
To do a help. That is the coldest take I've ever heard.
They will want that until it happens, because then they'll have to go suddenly 6 months without a killer, and they will run. That'll be tough, and I don't think people are thinking how tough that's going to be, because everyone's always crying out for, oh, we want a bug fix chapter, or we want XYZ, you know. But I think if they actually did that, that would be tough for people to then go 6 months with nothing.
Yeah.
That might be a hot take. That is a take.
I would personally like it if they just hired some... Like, I don't code, obviously. I'm not going to be like,
I know.
It'd be nice if they hired people to just like kind of remake the game from the ground up and not run like shit, because it's like been through what, like 3 engines, 2 programming languages, like a whole lot of stuff.
You'd end up with Overwatch 2, I think, which is another yeah.
I don't mean like specifically a second game. I mean more like Heroes of the Storm, because they had like Heroes 2.0, which like completely revamped the code to not be dog shit, and it felt like it changed essentially overnight.
I would love that as well. I don't know how that would... I'm not a program reader. I don't know how that would work in terms of...
I mean, not to self-promo my own video, but I made a video talking about the new player experience, and that was a pretty big example I used.
Oh, the new player experience is atrocious.
Terrible. Yeah.
So, like, I know it's funny because it's now doesn't exist anymore, but I think they should take a lot from DBD Mobile's book.
It still exists for like 2 months from now.
It still exists for now, yeah. So I dabbled in a bit of DBD Mobile, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the game actually has an inbox system now, but at the time, DBD didn't have an inbox system. But I was playing Survivor, and I got hit by Spirit Fury as the killer. And I was like, oh crap, I'm dead. And I did die. And then after the game, in my inbox, I had a notification, and the notification was a tutorial on Spirit Fury that explained why I died. And I got blood points for reading the tutorial, and it blew my mind. And I was like, why is this not in the base game?
That does blow my mind. That's fucking incredible.
Yeah, so that was a thing. So stuff like that needs to be in the base game, and it's just crazy that's not to me.
Yeah, all right. I didn't know that. A lot of good ideas in mobile. So, okay. So my very last one I've got for you here, Scorpionz. What would make you drop Pig completely? What is killing her? Freddy style rework?
She needs changes, yeah. I think she needs tweaks, but if they were to tweak her substantially in that sort of rework style, I probably would drop it. I play her for the gameplay that she has right now. I just want the gameplay to be better rather than different, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. It's like people, I very rarely get the take that like people want the whip drag for Nemesis removed, but if they removed that and then just like made him stronger somehow, that's
a huge change. Yeah,
that would kill it for me legitimately, because that's his skill expression. That's the whole fun of it. It's well, we removed ambush, but she's a tier higher. It's like, what's the fucking point?
I don't want them to make it so. For example, like ambush takes forever to charge, right? Because you crouch and then you charge and then you dash. But if it was like, oh, you can just ambush standing up now, like that would kill it for me. Yeah, because the whole point of it is that you've got to crouch and then position and then do it. That would kill it for me.
Yeah, just play Demogorgon or Dracula Wolf if you want that.
Yeah, exactly. Play demo. Yeah, go and play demo if you want that. But or Chucky, which is
Or
another.
Chucky, I forgot he existed. I'm not gonna lie. Oops.
That was a huge thing when he came out for me. Everyone was like, "Well, he's just better than Pig," and I was like, "No."
First of all, he's 2 feet tall.
And yeah, another thing that would actually kill it for me, might be a hot take, is if she was to get an add-on that broke pallets with her ambush, or if it was base kit.
Like Wesker or Blight.
Oh, you shouldn't have mentioned him. Here's a hot take, which is that I don't think Blight should do it either. That's a hot take. That'll pee everybody off. But yeah, no, I wouldn't want that for her.
Yeah.
It wouldn't kill it as bad as fundamentally changing it, but it would not. I would not be massively happy if that happened.
Yeah, I feel it. Well, that's kind of all I have for you. For questions wise. So now I'm just gonna give you a little time here in the outro where you can be like, "Hey guys, this is who I am. This is where you can find me. This is what I'm working on." If you have anything you're working on right now that you want to talk about, time is yours.
I mean, well, thanks for having me. As I said, I'm Scorpionz. You can find me on exactly that, twitch.tv/Scorpionz. I just mainly these days, since now I'm a bit more part-time, just kind of chill out. We hang out, we play DBD, we chat about it, we play a lot of Pig and other killers as well. But no, that's me as it is at the moment.
And yeah, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to me about the Pig.
Thank you for having me. That was a lot of fun.
And to everyone who came out and listened and watched this episode of Stars of the Fog, thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a lovely rest of your morning, evening, noon, night, whatever. And I will see you in the next one. So, bye-bye.
See you later.